talked a lot about the ruthlessness of the United States in terms of its foreign policy over the last 200 odd years. And I just wonder, you talked also about how Australia's always come to America's aid in all of its foreign adventures, but the US hasn't always come to our aid in our foreign adventures. I'm thinking, for example, of when the Howard government asked for the US's support to go into East Timor, and the US found that it was not in their strategic interest to get into a war with Australia against Indonesia. I just wonder if at some point, although you say Australia doesn't have a choice but to go with the United States, if we might become expendable at some point to the United States, and if at some point, 40, 50 years into the future, and if so, would you agree with Hugh White's argument that from our defence planning's point of view, we need to become more self-reliant because our military capabilities at this stage are all, built around interoperability with US forces? So do we need to be spending more on our own defence and become more self-reliant?
Well, as is clear from everything I said, I do think that great powers are ruthless, and I think the United States is no exception in that regard. And if the United States found itself in a situation where it made sense from an American point of view to throw a country to the wolves, the United States would throw that country to the wolves. This is the way international politics works. I'm not saying this is a good thing. It's just the way it works.
But on that note, though, there'll be people in this room who'll say, are you downplaying America's benign intent? Look at the noble role the United States played in rebuilding West Germany in Japan after World War II, as an example.
No, my answer to her is an answer to you, which is the United States does what's in its interest. We didn't rebuild West Germany for noble reasons. I don't know where you got that idea.
I also work at the Radio National.
He's supposed to be a realist. I'm just joking. No, the United States rebuilt West Germany and rebuilt Western Europe for purposes of containing the Soviet Union. The great advantage that Australia has is that the United States needs Australia, and it has no reason to throw Australia under the bus, right? So, yes, we're talking about in a competition with China, right? So I don't think that the United States is going to abandon Australia or the United States is going to do something to hurt Australia. It may happen inadvertently for the reasons that Malcolm Fraser described. You get involved in an alliance and there's, you can get entangled in ways that you otherwise wouldn't want to. That happens. But I think the problem that you describe should not be a serious concern. I actually think the Australians have more leverage over the United States than they realize because the United States needs Australia, right? I think Pompeo's visit illustrates that. Pompeo is here because he knows we need you. Right, that's what he was saying. That gives you leverage. But I don't think in the past, based on my understanding of U.S.-Australian relations, that the Australians have realized that. I think, for example, going back to the whole business of Australia going to the Gulf, I think if the Australians tell the Americans, we're not going to the Gulf, right, we're not getting involved in that mess over Iran, I don't think it would damage U.S.-Australian relations in any way because we need you against China.
Peter Hartcher.